Hello, everybody, and welcome to my finale recap of Survivor 46. Another season down the tubes. Firstly, before y'all read me, I know there's a table behind me. I'm in a cluttered ass basement, and we can't get rid of this shit. So, whoopsie. Okay, so let's start off this finale recap. I'm going to try to stay as focused as my ADHD brain possibly can be. Okay. So let's start this off with talking about my thoughts on the final five going into tonight. So let me pull up a quick picture of these final five so y'all's ADHD brains can keep up with the same thing. Okay. Okay. So we have that. I'm going to put me. I'm going to put me there. There we go. And let's zoom in because I feel like doing that. Share that tab instead. Let's zoom in. Okay. So let's talk about these guys. Okay. So the final five is Kenzie, Maria, Liz, Charlie, and Ben. Going into the finale, I had thought that this was going to be really a race between uh Kenzie and Charlie. Here's the reason why. When it came to Maria, I knew that Maria's only shot was to win at Final Five. If she won at Final Five, she probably could win Fire Making at 4 and then get herself to the Final Three. And at Final Three, she was being set up as a winner, so I guess she would have won. Even though, in my opinion, she didn't play the best game this season. And I think she would have been a crappy winner. With Liz, I felt like Liz was kind of the wild card pick that maybe could have won the game in some weird scenario. I liked Liz throughout the course of the game, but then every time that I thought about, oh, maybe Liz could win, I remembered that, oh, she's a millionaire. They're not going to give her the win. And then lastly, Ben. Ben had no shot this whole season, okay? There is no fucking way that a guy that voted incorrectly because he was drunk on pizza uh, said, "Yeah, I'm gonna rock out." The whole fucking like he was not gonna win. Let's be real here. So it was always between Charlie and Kenzie. But going into tonight, I had Kenzie pegged as the winner, and I'm gonna say why. Social game always outweighs strategic game. Don't believe me? Look back at every season of this fucking show. It always outweighs the strategy. Always. Always. So I knew that those two were the contenders, and I was curious to see how the game was going to finish out. Unfortunately, because the way the game is structured, it was pretty obvious that if Maria didn't win immunity, she was going to go home. If she did win immunity, I thought that Charlie would be the one to go, but I mean, I'm not so sure after seeing how the finale played out. So, anyways, we have the final five, and they play in what I can only describe as a basic Survivor immunity challenge. Okay, I'm gonna give Survivor a little bit of credit here because here I'm gonna show me. I gotta give them a little bit of credit because this challenge it was different. You know, there were parts of it that were different. All the challenges tonight were actually a little bit different than we're used to seeing. It gave my brain something to think about that, oh, they have to do this or this differently. So for this final challenge, it was the same old shit with, okay, they got to jump in the water, they got to swim, they got to do a puzzle, yada, yada, yada. Where the catch was that, oh no, once you finish the puzzle, then you have to. I'm okay. I'm going to be real here. I kind of stopped paying attention for a moment during the challenge. I stopped paying attention during some of the challenge because I was just so bored. I saw that Kenzie got it first, and I was just like, "Oh, Kenzie won," but then she didn't. So I don't remember exactly how it ended. But when I tuned back in and I saw that, oh, Maria might actually take this, Liz did another move that I think solidifies that Liz was a good player. I think people like to give her a lot of shit, but I think Liz really was a good player. She gave Kenzie the answer that she needed to help her win that challenge to solidify that Maria was going home. In my eyes, Liz is why Maria went home. Liz was responsible because see, this is the problem, right? The problem is that when you have a situation like this where there's one obvious target that needs to go home, no one can really take credit. Like no one can really take credit for Maria going home. But in this scenario, I think Liz gets the credit. No, I don't think Kenzie gets the credit because she won the immunity. No, I don't think that Charlie gets the credit because he claims to have formed the alliance. Ben definitely doesn't get shit. Liz gets the credit because ultimately, at the end of the day, Maria was going to win this challenge if Liz did not give that answer to Kenzie. When they got back to camp, they were discussing, who should go home, who should go home. I forgot that there was a reward too. I really didn't give a shit because I saw Maria lost and I was like, okay, let me go get my fucking snack. Let me go take a dump. I'll come back and Maria will be voted off. It was it was a done deal. Um, but Maria's pitching Ben's name. I didn't really understand that because Ben, in my eyes at least, had no shot at winning. And I think it was a fairly understood thing throughout the entirety of this game that he was not going to get shit, that he was always going to be voted off. Here's the problem though. The problem is that because the game is set up the way that it is, with a top 4 fire making and a top 3 final tribal, there is no reason to keep someone in the game at Final 5 based on loyalty. There's none. Unless you absolutely positively cannot go to fire, like you will lose fire making, then yeah, you should probably keep someone there that will take you to the final 3 if they win the challenge. That's the only scenario that I can think of. But most of the players, for some reason, don't really think that way, even though I think I would think that way. So So going into the vote, they built up that there was a possibility. There was never a possibility Maria goes home. Honestly, I feel like they could have just skipped the Popham circumstance and they could have just said Maria go the fuck home, and that would have been fine. It was a waste of time sitting there watching everyone write her name down. Um, I do want to say this. I say it every season. They need to ditch the fucking fire making. Ditch it. Get the fuck rid of it. I'll pull up a graphic because I know that y'all's fucking minds needs to see something while I'm talking about this shit. So fuck it. I'm gonna bring it back. I have the first image that I can get is of Tony and Sarah, Officer Sarah making fire. So I will put that shit up here. Okay, so you guys have something to look at while I talk about this goddamn rant. Okay, is it there? There it is. Okay. They need to get rid of this. Get the fuck rid of fire making, and this is why. When you have a scenario where there is a final 3, right? People's goal is going to be to have 2 people there with them in the end that they can beat. It's not about having one person. So now because now they've gotten rid of the final 2 for years, it's no longer about dragging one shitty person to the final 3. You now have to drag 2 shitty people to the final 3. When they did that, it wasn't too bad because people still kind of somewhat did loyalty, but Survivor was doing it to make it harder for the quote unquote good players or the audience favorites. They were making it harder for them to be voted off. But what they did inadvertently was they created a scenario where players now had to prioritize voting off bigger threats earlier on. So you used to bring someone to final 3 that you thought you could beat because you would want the other person to want to take you to the end over that person. Well, now you got to cut them at final 4 because you don't want them sitting in the final 3. Okay. Then people start getting voted off at the final 4. All right. Fuck my drag, right? So now, instead of letting them vote them off at final 4, Now you got to make fire to get to the final 3. So that way it gives a chance to the person that would have been taken out at 4 to get there. But now here's the problem. The problem is that now instead of dragging 2 shitty people to the final 3, you now have to drag 3 shitty people to the final 3, or excuse me, to the final 4. Before you could get away with 2 being there, now it has to be 3. So now the game has just become a pissing contest. And that's what this season felt like. This felt like the season of people just pissing all over my fucking TV. That's what it felt like. Every single episode, it was from, and it happens all of these new era seasons. It starts usually at the final 8, and it just keeps going from there. Who is someone that I can beat in the final? Fuck loyalty, fuck alliances, fuck strategy. Who is going to beat me in the end because they're likable? Let's start with Tiffany. Bam, gone. Skip Venus because that vote still makes no sense to me. With Q, oh, Q has a really big story. We're gonna get Q out. Maria, oh, Maria, uh, really big threat. She's got to go. And then 4, I guess they assumed that Liz was the biggest threat, which was stupid as shit. There was no way. So it's just, and then if you look at the other seasons, it's the same thing. And for me, what makes Survivor fun is I love watching the strategy. And when you have a scenario where people are just voting people off because they know that they're going to win when they're in the end, it completely eliminates the whole strategic point. I'll give you an example. Let's jump back to Survivor 43. I know we're talking about the finale of this, but this is a really important fucking point. So we jump back to Survivor 43 to this moment. Sorry, I'm pulling up my graphic. Let me make it bigger. There we go. So we go to Survivor 43 and we go to this moment where Gabler beats Jesse in the fire making. The whole point of having fire making is so that this guy, Jesse, can get to the final 3 because he has played, quote unquote, the best game. Okay. So now he's at final 4 with a guy that I think he was in the military or something. There was no way Gabler was ever going to lose fire against anybody in this game. And granted, Jesse was going to be voted off anyway in this scenario if there was no fire. But what I haven't really seen people talk about, and what I haven't seen the production side talk about, is the fact that at final 5, Carla was there. You had Carla and you had Jesse, the 2 front runners to win the whole game. At final 5, Jesse has no reason to keep Carla there. Carla's better at the challenge, she's better at fire making. So he lets her go. However, if it's a final 3 with a vote at final 4 for fire making, now the scenario has changed. There is a reason to keep Carla because Jesse would have become the biggest threat at final 4 without Carla there. By keeping Carla, it leaves a buffer in the game. And you need a buffer if you're a big threat in the game. So by having that vote at final 4, he now is incentivized to keep a big threat because now they can battle each other at final 4 to not be voted off at final 4 to get to the final 3. Does that make sense? So let's go back to tonight where you've got this scenario where, excuse me, let me put it back up, where you've got, how the fuck do I, okay, there we go, where you have this scenario where you have Maria. I didn't personally like Maria on the season, but I get that she was, a front runner or a contender, whatever. Charlie has no reason to keep Maria in the game because she will beat him hands down to win the game. But if Charlie thinks that at final 4 that there's a situation where Liz could win or Kenzie could win and he would be ousted as the next biggest target, he now has to keep Maria in the game because if she's there, she is a buffer to be voted off as the sacrificial lamb at 4 instead of him. Do you follow? This could go for Liz as well. Liz clearly thought that she was the biggest threat to win the game. I don't think that was true at all. So now maybe Liz reconsiders voting Maria off and keeping her. So my point is that this is another scenario are another example as to why Final Four fire making is the stupidest shit that has ever been introduced in the history of the universe. And I stand by that shit. As somebody that loves Survivor, as someone that has auditioned to be on the show, as someone that knows that this production team loves the fucking game, I stand 10 toes down that they need to remove this shit yesterday. And if you're stalking my social media, Survivor or Jeff or whatever the fuck, I stand on that shit. Remove fucking fire making. Remove it. I also got to say this too. This finale, and I'm not trying to be negative. Well, I am slightly bitter, so I'm not trying to be completely hateful, but this season has been the season where I felt, what's the word? Not exhausted. I felt really burnt out by the new era. This was the season. I don't know if it's just that 6 is the magic number or whatever, but now it feels stale. The 3 tribe format, the mergatory, the split at Final 10, 11, the Final Four fire making, uh, everybody loves each other, the final please. There were some things that they have done differently. I will give them credit. But everything just feels very run of the mill. Like, okay, this is the moment that this happens, and then this happens, and then that. And that's it. And now the game's over. So I don't know. I'm kind of losing. I'm getting bored. I'm getting bored. Like this finale tonight, I was bored. I didn't really feel like there was any tension. I didn't really feel like there were any stakes. And I think that comes with there's no vote off. There's no vote off. Like tonight, the only thing that happened was Maria had to be the next person to go. She was the last big threat left, so she had to go. And then at Final Four, it was just someone has to make fire, which again, very stale, very boring at this point. Very boring, just straight up. Um, if there was votes again, maybe we would have a scenario like we used to have where at Final Five, there's the will they flip, won't they flip? This whole situation, Final Four, can the person win immunity to save themselves? Can they convince them to go to fire making? Uh, Shit, if you can't get me a Final Two, I'm fine with Final Three, but and and I'm gonna say this one more time. I'm not a Survivor purist in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe the game has to be 39 days. The game has to be, even though I think it should be, the game has to be 39 days. The game has to not have any idols. The game has to be this, that way. This type of player should win. I'm not that way at all. Not even close. However, I am a viewer that's bored. Take that as you will. So we get to Final Four. Let's talk about the challenge at Final Four. Okay, the Final Four challenge, this was extremely refreshing. This was the one thing that I will say about this finale that did not make it feel stale to me. Um this challenge is something that is completely new. And to that I say keep them coming. Keep doing new shit. It was so cool seeing a challenge at Final Four that people don't already know how to do. Like, let's be real here. People come into this shit now preparing for Samotion. People now do this challenge preparing to do the cup stacking thing. So it was nice to get something that was different. But it's still the same thing where it's all about concentration and doing a very simple task. All you're doing is rolling it up like a skee ball and waiting for it to fall down. And then you have that really funny moment where Charlie has to just stare and twiddle his thumbs while the others continue because he missed the ball. That was funny as shit. And again, something different. I will remember this final. I could not tell you what was the final challenge last season. I could not tell you. I could tell you about this one though. So Kenzie comes close, but Ben wins immunity. And I was like, oh my God, like this guy, I gotta say, Ben has been a fucking drag to watch this whole season. The one thing that he did that I thought was really funny though was when he called Q a poser. As a fan of emos, I thought that that was extremely hilarious. um, so yes, what was I gonna say next? Oh, sorry, my ADHD kicked in. So he wins, very Romeo-esque in 42. Wasn't there another person that had no shot at winning that also won at the end? I don't remember. Whatever. And I felt like there were a lot of parallels between this decision that he was going to make and the decision that I thought he was going to make. Um, I thought he was going to have to make a decision between Kenzie and Charlie for the win. So this was the moment where I was like, okay, Ben just has zero chance. I don't even think Ben wants to win at this point because you're sitting here not even contemplating any sort of strategy. I don't hate it. I actually think it's good that we have people like him on the show that are not just strictly game bots. Like I want people that are actually going to play with a little bit of emotion, that are going to be different, because if everyone's just a fucking game bot, it's lame. So yeah, I thought it was funny. I was very confused why everybody thought Liz was going to win, just because it seems from the jury's reaction, specifically Venus's what I can only describe as Eliza Orland's style eye rolling. I don't think Liz had any shot of winning, which is a shame because I actually think she played a pretty good game. So yeah, he puts Liz in fire, and they were making it out like Kenzie was gonna fail. Of course, she wasn't gonna fail. Um, it was an interesting fire making challenge. It was a little exciting, but you know, and the jury was actively rooting against. Honestly, the moment that I knew that Kenzie was going to win was when the jury was rooting hard for her, man. Like it was insane watching how desperately some of them wanted her to win. Like, yeah, it was insane. So Kenzie pulls it out. Great for her. Amazing. Fabulous. Liz solidified herself to me as my favorite person this season. Hands down, she's my favorite person. Um, Charlie is trying to help Kenzie. I still don't really understand why, because Kenzie, I guess from my perspective, would have been the shoe in compared to Liz to win, just from a personality perspective. And Liz goes, basically, she tells him to shut the fuck up, and I thought that was the funniest shit. And then Liz is like, boo tomato, which is so my type of humor. I seriously have never like 180'd on somebody so much in on this show before. I thought I was gonna hate her from her audition video to her cast photo. This is a reason why you never judge a book by its cover. I thoroughly enjoyed Liz this entire season. I thoroughly enjoyed her. Um, I found her funny. I found her entertaining. You can't deny the fact that she is going to be one of the most memorable parts of this season. I mean, the thing I'll remember the most is her meltdown during the reward picking with Q. That will probably be the most memorable part of the season. People are going to remember that no one with idols played their idol and her meltdown. Can you tell me anything else that happened this season? Anything? I seriously can't think of anything else besides Q skirts, which, by the way, I will say Q did a really good job of branding. Other than that, though, I don't remember shit that happened this season. So Kenzie gets to the final three, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, Kenzie's got this. I'm pretty sure Kenzie's got this in the bag. So we get to the final, and again, I didn't really give a shit. Oh, I just realized I think I know someone that's on this season of Survivor. I do know someone that's on this season. Yes, I know her. Good for her for getting on. Aisha. She was on the thing. I knew I recognized her when I saw her face. Good for her. I'm curious to see how she does. She's I think she does RHAP, or she does one of the I think silent podcasts. I don't know. Good luck. So the final three, the jury. Oh, the Banu begging for Tiffany. By the way, hi Arcanums, hi Aaron, hi Caroline, my people in the chat. Okay, the jury was also a highlight for me. I have been so sick of watching these final tribals, and the jury is just like kissing the final three's ass the whole time. I'm sorry. Give it up. I don't think that every single finale has to be lovey-dovey. Everyone's a winner. Everyone's so great. You're terrific. We don't need that. Okay? Save it. These people fucking betrayed you and voted you off, and some of them probably they probably don't deserve to be in the end. So I was really refreshed by the fact that Tiffany and Soda and like Hunter, they all they cut the bullshit. What gagged me, and the moment that I was like, okay, I think Kenzie's gonna win this, was Tiffany started the night off by looking those three in the eye and saying, I want serious answers. I don't want Taylor Swift quotes. I don't want pop culture quotes, Metallica quotes. I lost my fucking mind. I was so fucking weak. And you know what? I think had she not said that, I think that they would have done that shit. And I was so over it. And you know what? I would have been over it if I was her too. So, because Charlie was just biting his fucking lip so hard to not say some Taylor Swift shit. So the final tribal council, the final tribal council, it felt very okay. I want to know what y'all think. So I know that we don't have a lot of people watching me right now, but let me know what you think about this in the comments, because local loser from last season, Drew Basil, said this, and I'll show this on my screen. He said, mean-spirited jury. Final Tribal is a huge moment for all of us as competitors and fans. Love to see a little bit more respect for the finalists. And to that I say, oh please, shut the fuck up. First of all, the jury owes you nothing. You voted them the fuck off. If anything, and also, aren't you one of those people, Drew, that talks about how much you love the old seasons and how you're a nerd for the old seasons and you quote all those old seasons? Well, you went to lasted 2 fucking seconds in the old seasons, okay? Because back then, people were getting ripped to shreds, personally attacked. Go ask Sugar. So, like, shut the fuck up. I can't stand the people in this new era that can't handle anything. Okay? Like Maria breaking down and crying over Venus's statement, please. So, yeah, I thought that the jury was great, and I hope more juries are like them. But I will say this. I wouldn't say the jury was mean-spirited, but I think the jury came in with an idea of what they were doing. So the votes were actually really close, and a lot of them did change their mind. But I think a lot of them were coming in there with a skewed opinion towards Kenzie. Whenever Charlie was giving his answers, I felt like they were very dismissive. They were very quick to question it. They were very quick to be like, oh, whatever. And this is not me saying that, oh, Charlie got robbed or whatever, but like, come on. It was like Tevin. I felt like Tevin was asking like his question to Charlie to kind of set Charlie up to fumble, but then Charlie actually gave a good answer, and he was gagged by that. So yeah, I just think that this jury was not coming in for Charlie. They were coming in for Kenzie. It was also very interesting, and I'm going to say too, refreshing, that the jury did not just vote based on gameplay, and that the jury was asking questions outside of gameplay. Because yes, I do think that 9 times out of 10, like, gameplay should be involved, and like, yes, I think gameplay is important and blah 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 blah. But I also think that, sometimes we need to step back from being meta game nerds for like 2 seconds and also remember that this is a million fucking dollars and we can you know, do something different. Like, there's also a human side of this, you know what I'm saying? So like, it was kind of refreshing to see this was a win. No one can question it. This was a win based on Kenzie as a person, not as a player. Because as a player, all of the questions she was outclassed by Charlie, keeping it 100. But again, it's not really the strategy that matters. It's always the fucking social game. So let's break down this vote, shall we? This was a very interesting vote that I was not expecting. So let's take a look. Okay. So the final vote count was 5-3. Kenzie, Charlie had gotten votes from Liz, Hunter, and Soda. Okay. Soda, I was not expecting because Soda was very pro Kenzie throughout a majority of this. However, I thought back to Soda's relationship with Charlie on the beach, and then I remembered Kenzie wasn't really with her, so Kenzie didn't really have a chance to establish a bond with Soda. And then it made sense to me Soda would obviously vote for Charlie. Hunter, Hunter is a game bot through and through. He plans these fucking games for his kids or whatever. So I don't think he was ever considering the emotional side of it. I think it was always game for him. And then Liz, I was shocked by Liz's vote. I thought that Liz was hyping Kenzie up. She was defending Kenzie. So I was very surprised that she voted for Charlie. And I'm really interested to hear in her interview why she voted for Charlie. As for the rest of them, Tevin, I think Tevin was always leaning Kenzie. Tiffany was always going to do Kenzie. Venus said that she was back and forth, but I'm really curious why. I want to hear what Venus's reasoning was. Q always surprises me, but I guess at the end of the day, Q wanted someone that needed it, and then Maria is a wow. So I will say this. I think that if you are under the age of, I think Charlie's age, if you're under the age of 30, I think you're going to have a hard time proving why you deserve to win money wise. Uh, I think that even if you play the best game, which I think Charlie played the best game, hands down, strategically, people are going to have a really hard time awarding $1 million to someone like Charlie that is very young and maybe they feel consciously or subconsciously will be irresponsible with the money. Also, maybe they just thought Charlie was a rich kid and that he didn't really need it. They're not entirely wrong. Um, but I think that perception isn't really going to help you. I mean, when you look back, there's not a lot of really, really young Survivor winners. Most of the people are, a little bit older. And it's funny because if you look at Charlie versus D, even though they're the same age, D read a little bit more mature than he was because she already had her established business or whatever. And I'm not saying that Charlie's immature. It's just that there were a lot of moments in the season where Charlie was referred to as like a little brother, just a kid. And I think that came back to bite him in this. And I think that's why a lot of people didn't view him as deserving of the money, despite the fact that he played the best game. And that's an unfortunate reality. So sorry to all of the nerdy fucking white fucking 20-year-old geeks out there that are applying for the show. I just don't think that you really have a shot, if I'm being honest with you, of winning. Honestly, there's a lot of reasons why I don't think y'all would win, but I think this is another example of why I don't even know if you would have a shot, even though he got really close. I mean, Maria basically said that she voted for Kenzie on an emotional level and not a game level. And annoyingly, the fire. So Kenzie deserved this win though. And this is why. If you watch the season, Everybody had a relationship with Kenzie. If I was there, Kenzie would have been the first one to go because you can deal with a Q. He's annoying. You can deal with a Venus. She's rude. You can deal with a Tiffany. She's very out in the open about being a threat. You can even deal with Maria's fake ass because you can see that she is a threat. You cannot deal with Kenzie because Kenzie is just genuinely a good fucking person. Kenzie is someone that's able to be friends with every fucking buddy and people genuinely like her. She's like when you go to a college campus for the first time, orientation, where they're trying to convince you to actually, accept being at the school. You know how they have those greeters that are from the college that are getting paid 5 cents an hour and they stand out there going, "Oh my God, welcome to the camp. Welcome to FU University. You're going to love it here." That's Kenzie the whole season. And that's why she was never looked at as a main target after the beginning of the game. I was always so curious why Kenzie was never considered as a target after she got off of Yanu. There was never an episode where they were like, yeah, Kenzie needs to be the one to go. Even the last episode. And I had thought to myself, I was like, I feel like Kenzie, by and large, is the biggest threat there. Even more so than Maria. Even more so than Q. But she was good enough at making real relationships. She had a real relationship with Ben. She had a real relationship with Liz, a real relationship apparently with Q, a real relationship with Venus, with Tiffany, with Charlie, with all these people. And the same way that Charlie opened up his door for every possibility, whether she meant to or not, so did Kenzie. And Kenzie was only left out of the vote where Tiffany was sent home. And that worked out for her. Funnily enough, I actually think that Charlie made a mistake at Final Five. And I think one of them alluded to that, where they felt like he lost steam. I think at Final Five, they should have voted off. Well, they couldn't vote Kenzie off. But I think they should have voted Ben off. And here's why. Charlie and Ben's games, I think maybe got conflated a little bit, and people obviously started with Charlie over Ben, but Charlie needed something else to one up the other people there, and Liz needed the same thing. Obviously, I think Maria. The problem is though is that I think Maria would have still might have gotten to the end, and then I guess Maria overshadowed Charlie the whole season. But this is why, again, it sucks that that there is fire making forced at Final Four, because if not, they could have taken that risk and they could have voted Ben off, who is the weakest fucking person there, and you could have had 4 real contenders in that Final Four, or I guess maybe 3 if you don't count Liz. So I don't know, but it's just it feels really sucky. So um again, this is an example to all of you people out there watching that um if you're looking to play Survivor, the number one thing that you need to do is establish relationships with people, because those relationships are going to be what gets you the win, more so than any level of strategy that you do out there. And that's the motherfucking tea. So let's rank everyone this season. If you want to leave me some questions before I wrap up tonight, feel free to do so. I'm going to quickly just go through the wiki, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the cast of Survivor 46. Oh yeah. Anyways, let's look at these jokers. Okay. So let's start off with Jelinski. Jelinski was probably one of the biggest winners of this whole season, because he's probably going to be more memorable than 99% of this cast, if not all of them, which is really annoying to think about. But, congrats to him. That several thing is going to be here for a long time. He was messy, chaotic. He fits in with the iconic first boots very well. Congrats. Next was Jess. I have to say, I'm really sick of seeing Asian women go on this show and get isolated and treated really shitty. It's happening honestly, it happens to a lot of the East Asian people I see on these shows. I'm not trying to, start nothing, but it's just something I'm noticing. I'm just saying. Uh, I think that Jess is an example of someone that's an introvert and maybe, just really misunderstood because she's more introverted. Um, yeah, it sucks, but I really liked her. I'd like to see her again. I thought that I think her postseason stuff is really funny. I found her to be really funny. Uh, I also think it's funny that she's the only person that played an idol correctly this season. It sucks that it wasn't a real one. Um, and I also think that they made a mistake getting rid of her. I think that they could have gotten rid of Kenzie instead of her, and it might have been better for their game, but who knows? But I really like Jess. Brandon, please don't bring him back. I'm good. I don't need to see him again. I know he got evacuated. So I feel so bad for you, boohoo. But I'm fine. I don't need any more Randon in my life. He gave me nothing. Banu, we probably will see Banu again at some point. Banu was fucking funny. He was a hot mess express the entire season, man, and it was really fucking funny. Uh, we'll probably see him again at some point, but who knows? There's a lot of really like gem survivors, pun intended, that have fallen through the cracks. Next was Gem. I think Gem was could have been a really dangerous player. Uh, I still don't fully understand why Maria flipped. I would love to know why she did that, why her and Charlie flipped. Um, but yeah, Mariah just gave me like like generic geek, very generic, whatever. Tim, same thing, very generic, very boring, just like the same super fan, whatever. Like these guys reminded me so much of other people that have been on the new era, like boring, yawning, sloppy. Next is Soda. I actually know Soda's brother, which is so funny. She grew up actually like 30 minutes from me. So I feel so bad for her that she got probably the worst treatment on social media this season and also betrayed for like literally no reason. She was betrayed because she's really likable, but she didn't even really get a chance to play the game. Uh, and this guy's a fucking idiot. So I like Soda though. Maybe she'll get a chance to play again. Probably not, but go you, Soda. Tevin, Tevin was embarrassing this season, man. Like he was embarrassing. He really thought that he was the head honcho when the only thing he did in this game was vote off his closest ally for no fucking reason. He is an example as to why making a big move for your resume is stupid as shit because it does nothing for you unless it's like has a reason. Don't do it. Don't vote off your closest ally for no reason. Next is Hunter. Hunter's cool. Again, just like a meat bro, whatever. Like, there's nothing really to say. Uh, although, whatever. Tiffany, breath of fresh air. She didn't play nice. She was herself. She was authentic. Cast more people like Tiffany. I'm sick of seeing people come on this show and just be nice and sweet the whole time. I think she had good strategy. It's a shame that this like new era it punishes people for being big characters and playing the fucking game. So yeah, but I have no doubt we'll see her again. Venus, another breath of fresh air. Someone that didn't kiss ass, someone that called people out on their bullshit. I really felt bad for her the whole season. How people were just disregarding her. To me, it felt like people were disregarding her because she was young and pretty. That's what it felt like. For some reason, people come on the show and they're allergic to young, pretty girls. Um, I somewhat get it from how she was portrayed on the show, why people were turned off by her. I think that her tact strategically to like get people on her side was not the greatest. However, I enjoyed every minute of her on the show and I hope to see her again. Q will definitely be back. He was the breakout star of the season. Probably will be the most memorable person on this cast. Maybe Liz right behind him. But Q was great. Q skirt. I feel like he would be really obnoxious to play the game with, but great casting, a lot of fun. Maria, I thought Maria was fake as shit, and I think that her vote proved it. How do you not vote for your closest ally that you're saying is going to be the uncle of your kids? Like, I just found her to be really irritating the whole season. I was not rooting for her. However, I don't think that people should have been hating on her the way that they were on social media. It's really fucking weird. So good game to you at 47 years old, nearly tying a record. That's awesome. For the challenge wins. Liz, I was very impressed by you. I was not expecting you to be as entertaining and good strategically as you were. Very pleasant surprise. I enjoyed her. I would love to see her again. But I don't really think you had a shot at winning. And I mean, going out the game, never having a vote cast against you or for you is impressive. You know, you follow in the footsteps of Sugar and Kara K. I think Kara K never got a vote. Ben, in your own words, poser. I think he's going to be one of those people that's really obnoxious and goes to all of those Survivor events with all the fans or whatever and grabs onto his 5 seconds of fame. Such a disappointment from what I thought we were going to get from his little audition tape. Charlie was the best strategist this whole season, but boring as shit. Boring, yawning, sloppy, lazy. I didn't give a. I don't even know anything about him other than that he was a Taylor Swift fan. So boring. A game fucking bot. But I appreciate the fact that he had very genuine emotion when he lost, and didn't act like everything was okay. He falls in the same category to me as like Gavin Nichols from Edge of Extinction. That's immediately who I thought of. Just like very, just there, like a good strategist. But I'm glad he didn't win because he was fucking boring. I do hope that Taylor Swift reaches out to him in some capacity. I feel like that's part of why he was doing all that shit. Whatever. And then Kenzie. I mean, she was kind of my winner pick from the start. I had a really good feeling that she was going to win. I mean, I love that her last name is Petty. I didn't realize that. That whole story of hers was fantastic. I didn't realize that that was her background, that she, started at 15 and did all that stuff. Congrats to her. Congrats on the baby that's on the way. And, the mermaid dragon lives on and wins. And I think she's a good winner. So, oh, hey, Tay Nation, I haven't seen you in a while. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to break down where I would rate this season based on, new era seasons tier list. I want to rate this season compared to the other new era seasons, right? I also would like to rate Kenzie as a winner compared to the other winners. So give me 1 second to pull this up. Okay, I found the player list first. So I'm going to do the player list first, and then we will do the seasons. If you know a tier list for the winners, please send that to me in the chat so I can open it without having to search for 1,000 years. Thank you. So the Marianne, and then Gabler, and then Jam. Okay. So in the meantime, let's look at the winners of the new era. Whoa. Okay. Presentation mode. Why not? Why not, man? Okay. So we have the winners. Congrats to the women, by the way, of this new era of breaking that fucking chain of men that were winning constantly. Like it was like, I think it was like 5 or 6 men in a row. I will say though, I do think that this should be a 5 out of. Gabler should not be here. Like, it's funny that he won, but it should be Cassidy here. And then Jam. I thought Jam winning was fine. I thought Carolyn could have been a good winner, maybe Heidi, but I think Jam was a fine winner. He deserved it. But everyone else, I think, deserved the win for sure. Yeah, I would say Gabler's the only one that I didn't agree with. So let's rate these winners, okay? Let's start off with Erica. I would put Erica as a winner. She's like a B tier winner. She had a good strategy halfway through the game. She kind of just laid under the radar. She's a good winner. Marianne, the same thing, maybe a little better. I thought that their games were very similar. Marianne was just more entertaining, and she played from more of a position of power, whereas Erica did not. Like Marianne was on the bottom, but she was never really in real danger of going home. Gabler's going in F. He was not a good player. All right, and then we've got these three, and these three I think played great. With Jam Jam, I would put Jam Jam in A. There were a lot of things that he had to overcome in the game, and he was a great player. D is a legend. The amount of control she had was like Kim Sproutlin level. So where would I put Kenzie in all of this? I'm not going to put Kenzie in S tier. And the reason why I wouldn't put Kenzie in S tier is because D had likability, challenge wins, and control. Kenzie had challenge wins. Kenzie had likability, control. She was never really in control. I mean, like, yeah, she was, but you got to remember, she almost went home pre-merge. Had that guy not gotten pulled, she probably would have gone. What was it? Randon. And then there were moments where she lost control. There also was not really like anything stellar. Like with D's whole arc where she saved Julie and warned her to play the idol, and then the next round got out Drew. That whole arc where she knocked out 2 power players on her own was fucking incredible. Um, and then I would equally put Marianne using her extra vote to get out Omer, and then the next round not using the idol on Lindsay when she could have. I would put that up there. Um, and then I don't know about the others, but yeah, like Kenzie didn't really have a moment like that. She just was a very solid player. She reminds me actually of a girl that was on my game, Taisha. If any of you are I Love Money people that watch my online reality competition show. So I wouldn't put her there. I feel like she's on a level with Jam Jam. I feel like her and Jam Jam are very similar in a way because they both came from the losing tribe that lost like all of their people from the start, so they were in a swing position. Um, However, Jam Jam's game was a little bit more about loyalty. With Jam Jam, remember he had Jamie and he had Lauren protecting him, and then he had his Tika 3 protecting him, and they got all the way to the end of the game, and then he has a relationship with Heidi. With Kenzie, it was the same thing. Kenzie had her purple team people there, the Yanu people, but then she also branched out and made relationships with the Sigas like Ben and Charlie. I mean, coddling him with his emotional problems. Uh, and she won the challenges. I don't know if I would say she's better than Jam Jam. I feel like I need to sit with her win a little bit longer, but I would say this is probably how I would rank it. So overall, I would say D is still easily the best winner of the new era. Then I would put Jam Jam in second. I'd put Kenzie in third, then Marianne, then Erica, and then Gabler. Let me know if you agree with my opinion. But that's where I would put it. And by all means, I think that all of these new era winners have been great, except for Gabler. And that has nothing to do with him personally. I think he was I honestly thought that him winning was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was kind of funny. As far as where I would rank this season, where the hell is I want 1 through 46. Can someone give me 1 through 46 for this tier list? Create. Okay, I found it. I think I found it. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at a tier list for all of the Survivor season for all the new era Survivor seasons. Okay. Starting off with the new era. Okay, I'm not doing all of it by the way. I'm just doing the new era seasons. I'm sorry. Okay, so with the new era, I think that 41 was good. I thought it was a good season. I thought 42 was great. 43 was mid. I thought 44 was bad. Don't come for me. I thought it was bad. I think 45 was great. 43. Okay, I'm conflicted about all these new seasons because a lot of them blend together for me. If I'm being honest with you, they all feel like the same season, but with different types of people, just switched around a little bit. Um, with 46, I'm a little torn, and this is the reason why. there were a lot of standout moments. There were a lot of moments that caught my eye. Like, I think that they had a strong start with the pre-merge. But then things kind of started to fizzle halfway through. I feel because there aren't that many tribals. People are constantly being separated and put in little and smaller groups. So there's not really a lot of chances to have strategy and to vote people off and actually, play the fucking game. Um, the tribal where Tevin went home was crazy, where Q threatened to quit. Um, Liz's meltdown was great, but that's about it. So there was really high highs and like really low who gives a fuck moments. So ultimately, I mean, with 43, what can I remember? I remember Jesse, the whole idol situation. I remember Noel had one leg. I guess it is better than 43. Is it better than 41? No, I remember everything about 41. I remember the Shan. I remember the Shantham. I remember Ricard being a douchebag. I remember Xander being there and existing. I remember Tiffany. Like, I remember things from that season. 45, I remember what was happening as well. Honestly, I think 42 is better. The characters were better in 42. I think 42 than 45. 41, 46. 44 was just bad. I know that everyone simped for Carson because they wanted to fuck him, even though he's a fucking thief. Jam Jam, everyone thought was funny. Carolina thought was funny. But three people does not save a season from being shit. Sorry. Um, I guess I would rank it like that. This was a very mid-season to me. This was like very bleh. So I would rank it like this. I'd rank it like this: 42, 45, 41, 46, 43, 44. I have to say, these new seasons feel like filler. I feel like are we watching filler Survivor? Like, is that what this is? Is this filler? I don't know. I feel like all the old seasons all had an identity to them. Like, I get it. I get it that there are, if you look back at like the Dark Ages, like the seasons after Heroes and Villain, they were really confused about their identity, and some of them did start to blend together because they followed the exact same format as each other. Like the Redemption Island seasons blend together. The Nicaragua blends in with like One World, and they all have a similar format, and they follow the same patterns. But I feel like they all had their own identity still. But I don't feel like these seasons have an identity. And granted, those seasons did not really have themes. Like, well, I guess they kind of did. Old versus young. Why don't we do that? Do old versus young. Do something. Like, even if it's not like the theme of the season, like split the teams based on that. There's men versus women. The Redemption Island. The Redemption Island was the theme. 45. I mean, they brought back people, but like there wasn't really a theme. I mean, 25, excuse me. I don't know, but I just feel like, what did Colin say? Didn't Carson like try making his own Wikipedia page where he basically glazes himself? Did he? I didn't know about that. That is so funny. Okay. I don't know. Listen, I don't hate Survivor, but I will say I'm getting very bored of it. Can I say this too? I don't like all the super fans. I don't like all these meta people that are now just going on there to make in jokes and like go on podcasts or whatever. It just, I don't know. Things are feeling lame to me. Yeah, I don't know. This shit feels lame. Is Survivor lame? Is Survivor getting lame? Okay, I do have to say this too. I'm starting to feel like after this season, I still want to be on the show and I still want to play. But after this season, I was starting to feel like, yeah, now it feels like there's been 46 seasons. Now it feels like Survivor has gone on a little bit too long, right? I'm starting to feel like Survivor has overstayed its welcome a little bit, which I hate. I don't want that. I want the show to keep going. But I don't know. They need to change it. They need to do something different, man. Like, this shit feels so stale to me. Change something. More new challenges. I love the new challenges. Granted, there are some good old ones. Keep the new challenges coming. Keep that. I think you need to shake it up and do two tribes. Do something different, bitch. Something different. I actually think not having two tribes is hurting people because you're having a lot of people go like half the season without even going to tribal. I think it hurt the Sega people not going to tribal like for half the fucking season, especially when the season is cut into a third. Um, I think that there's still ways to keep the game interesting. I think the idols are fine. I think the beware advantages are fine. I think some of these twists that they're doing where you're losing your vote is fine. I know people are pissed about it. I'm personally not. I think those things are fine, but I also think switch it up. Do some three tribe seasons, do some two tribe seasons. Stop doing the same mergatory every season. Like do just I know you're doing something different now, but do more different. I don't know. Like don't do the same. I don't think one season should look the same as another, especially back to back to back. I also feel like maybe at some point they should have thrown returning players in there. I'm gonna just say it. I can see why they had returning people come before because now it's feeling stale doing 7 seasons of newbies. Okay, well I'm not gonna bitch too much longer. What did Philip say? Y'all, I just heard about Aisha. That's insane. I played with her before on Twitter. Yeah, they're casting a lot of Orgers. I will say though that I'm kind of over it because I just feel like RHAP people and like org people are really fucking lame. However, I think Aisha's really nice. I think I've met her before. I think I played a game with her or like I podcasted with her. I don't remember. But she seems really nice. But I don't know. I'm not really a fan of this genre of people that are like so submerged in the Survivor fandom that people already know who they are and they already go to all the watch parties and they already make in jokes with each other and they already like I don't know, it just feels really fucking weird to me. And I'm not saying Aisha's a loser, but I'm just saying it just feels like very loser. Like I'm seeing all the people right now in New York City at the party and they're all sucking each other's dicks about how celebrities they are and making jokes even though they were literally like second out and they fucking asked to be eliminated. Like I don't know. I just I'm just I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Big Brother is actually outdoing Survivor in my opinion. So, anyways, let me look through the chat one more time. Personally, she's okay, but I love the subversion of expectations by having Maria be a villain. Yeah, I like that too. But Chaos Cast did it better. Much better. Survivor, please cast more people like Venus and Tiffany that will be mean to people and get into personal arguments. Maybe also extend the days so there can be more of that. Thank you. Anyways, I've been talking on here for an hour. Oh, I loved reindeer games as well. If you're watching this back, thank you for watching through the whole thing. To all my comments people, thank you Philip Sellers, thank you Colin, thank you Tay Nation, thank you Aaron Hughes, thank you Caroline Crow, thank you Matt, aka Arcanums. Uh, I have a couple of things to plug before we go. If you are a fan of my online of Survivor, then you'll definitely be a fan of my online reality competition show, I Love Money, DH1's I Love Money. A new season, I can officially announce, of DH1's I Love Money will be coming to you sometime next month with an all new set of players. If you're interested in being one of those players, keep an eye out for an application to be a player on the season. If you're interested in joining our production team, whether it's as a casting producer, a diary room moderator, a video editor, a social media manager, any capacity, if you're just looking to be part of the team, we have opened up applications to join. So if you would like to, fill out an application. If you do have an interest in being a player, we do have a beta application open just to gauge interest, so you can fill out that application if you want to be a player. Other than that, I do recaps on Survivor and Big Brother and maybe RuPaul, I don't know. I just do whenever I feel like it, and I also talk shit on Twitter, so follow me everywhere at Slightly Bitta. And also, one more thing, stay tuned because later this week I will be uploading an edited video, that I've been working on, a behind the scenes look at a fight that happened back in season 12 of my show, which was a year ago. You can rewatch that season on YouTube right now. Um, it's really fucking funny, and it will be uploaded sometime later this week. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We made it through another season of this show, and I guess we'll have to see how Survivor 47 goes in the fall. I love y'all so much for watching. I will see y'all later. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We're close to 2K. Until next time, stay followed, stay tuned, stay surviving, but most importantly, stay bitter. Bye, y'all.